Missed an episode of your favorite podcast? Choose from over a decade of content in our archives, not just the latest episode. All free at gcnlive.com.
This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli. Watch the greenbacks
tumble. Everyone all set, cocked, locked. Here we go. Your dial set correctly to USAPrepares.com. We're delighted you're here. We're broadcasting 2 hours from high atop the Missouri Ozark Mountains. And we have a telephone number for you to call in if you'd like to. We'll pay for the call. 866-582-9933. 866-582-9933. Converging threats are confronted daily by your instructors. I'm Vincent Finelli. Charles is engineering the broadcast in Minnesota. And for those of you new to the class, there are about 200 of us here at USAPrepares.com. Experts in various areas. All of us are innovators. We're dentists and medical doctors and engineers, surgeons, CEOs, broadcasters, editors, researchers, authors, physicists, farmers, and inventors. And we're students rising to become instructors. I'm delighted to introduce your newest USAPrepares.com instructor, Sharon Rondeau. She's the editor of Post and Email. The website, thepostemail.com, thepostemail.com. For the next 2 hours, we're going to be talking about state corruption. We'll be talking about Mike Parsons, USAPrepares.com instructor. Steve Angle, USAPrepares.com instructor. I might even mention Joey Kyle, a former corrupt sheriff. Well, I should say this, a corrupt person who was a former sheriff in Christian County, Missouri. We'll be talking about prisons for profit. We'll be talking about chemicals that are served to the prisoners in prison instead of food. We'll be talking about slave labor camps. We'll be talking about cancer rates in prison skyrocketing. We'll be talking about states building prisons and closing schools. Welcome, Sharon Rondeau.
Thank you very much for having me, Vincent.
You know, it's a serious topic, and, I kind of have a smile on my face for a strange reason. It's our turn. It's our turn to expose these thugs, these corrupt, defective individuals, these people who enjoy beating prisoners, these people who enjoy tasing people, these people who enjoy that little bit of power that they have for a short time to inflict harm on people. Cruel and unusual punishment, mental and physical. It's outrageous, it's over the top, and it's our turn. It's our turn to expose who they are. Sharon, where would you like to start?
Well, it's sometimes hard to know where to start, but all of the lead-ins that you just enumerated are things that the Post and Email has been studying for the last almost 6 years. We haven't done as much on, let's say, Second Amendment issues or some of the things that you have covered, or preparedness, although we do have people who write about that too. But what happened was, give you a little bit of history. In late 2009, a retired naval commander named Lieutenant Commander Walter Francis Fitzpatrick III, retired, found inadvertently that Tennessee uses rigged grand juries, if you will. It appoints the grand jury foreman solely at the pleasure of the criminal court judge. And the foreman serves as long as the judge wants him to, which means it could be months, years, decades. And the longest serving case we've documented was 28 years. There are some drawing very close to that now. So essentially, the grand jury foreman acts as a hired employee of the judge. Now, this was something that Fitzpatrick looked at, and from previous experience, he said, there is no way this could be a real grand jury. This is a puppet grand jury, basically charged with doing what the judge wants. And it's a very, very long story. I have hundreds, literally hundreds of stories published on this, all an outgrowth of this original revelation. But what we found is that the grand juries and the trial juries are completely rigged to produce an outcome, and that outcome is, of course, incarceration. This is all without due process. This involves altered transcripts and judges colluding with prosecutors. Ex parte communications are standard. And I dare any Tennessee judge who's perhaps listening to this or might later listen to this to call me wrong on this, because they know they can't. And this has resulted in the incarceration and mistreatment and abuse of tens of thousands of Tennesseans over at least the last decade.
Okay, it's now my turn to put an exclamation point on what you just said. One of our USA Prepares instructors, his name is John Gore, same as spelling as Al Gore. He had been teaching us at the meetups. We have a meetup every Monday night at Jimmy's Egg, a restaurant in Springfield. We've been meeting once a week for about 5 years now. And he taught us for about 4 weeks about what is happening in the police departments. And he used to be a cop in Springfield, Missouri. And he told us in no uncertain terms that he was ordered to complete reports that would be filed in the databases that were after the fact, that were being filed under, I'll say, other people's names. So he was there to rewrite history, file reports, and he refused to make up reports. He refused to be part of the criminal activity within the police departments. So, for example, cases are built out of thin air. Cases against people, and these reports are filed. And I know for a fact, there's a guy on the radio in Springfield, Missouri, or he was, and he's a former cop. And I've seen him in the act of building cases. He even tried to build cases against me. He would have the police called on me in order to have a report filed, so that if I ever ended up in court, they could say, geez, Finelli, you're unbelievable. Look at this rap sheet that we have on you. Do you know how many times we've had to respond to you? That's what these guys do. They'll call the cops and they'll start a case being built. So you'll have a record of the police being called time after time after time for no reason at all, but they show up. And the cops have never arrested me, because there's nothing to arrest me for, but they do show up. How many? About 4 of them at a time. You know, 3 in front of me, armed, ready to shoot me, 1 behind me in case the first 3 miss. I mean, that's what they do. Multiple police cars. I just show up at an event, and then the cops come. And what are they looking for? They're looking for me. So I have seen this firsthand. It's happened to me. So I know that. And then I know that John Gore told us that he was ordered to create reports, kind of like what happened to me. And then you've talked about altered transcripts, and then you've talked about juries being rigged. There's no question in my mind. As a matter of fact, Sharon, I have never been able to serve on a jury. I've showed up, and I've been asked questions. We go back in the jury room. Next thing I know, I'm dismissed. I'm the only guy that understands what the case is about. I'm the only guy that's got his wits about him, and I'm very serious about that. I mean, I've seen people drunk selected for jury duty right then and there. The trial's going to happen. These guys are drunk in the back room. They started drinking before 9 o'clock in the morning. I've seen people say in the jury room, man, I don't know what this case is about, but I just want to get out of here. I don't care what we do I don't care what we decide. I just want out of here. Those are the guys who are left to serve on the jury. There's no question in my mind that the plan is to have the dumbest jurors possible.
That is very consistent with what we've been studying and seeing in Tennessee. And before I continue, let me just correct something I incorrectly said. I said that this corruption has been going on for at least the last decade. I meant to say multiple decades. We can actually trace it back almost 100 years. So I apologize to your listeners for that. It's multiple decades. But yes, and it takes multiple decades for this kind of corruption to become so endemic and so systemic that it's just par for the course. And when you speak to court clerks or even people, well, I haven't been able to get any juror who served to be able to speak with me. They won't do that. But you speak to anybody there, and this is very standard. If the judge tells them to alter the transcript, or maybe the judge doesn't even have to tell them that, they automatically do it to protect the criminal judge, to protect the criminal deputy sheriff who hauled somebody in on trumped-up charges. And this fuels a prisoners for profit operation that the FBI will do nothing about. Commander Fitzpatrick had gone to the FBI on several times, I think 5 or 6 different times. I had them documented at the newspaper. And one of the special agents actually looked at him and said, you're not from around here. He said, I was born and bred in Tennessee. I'm proud of it. And he said, you actually think you can get a fair trial here? He said, either live with it or leave, because he said, this is how it is.
Well, I actually, I totally believe that. One of my neighbors, single woman, had been arrested, and she told me that right in our little county here, she said that you're not going to believe it. There's a person who died in jail. This is like just a few cells, and she said that there's no question that the sheriff's office killed that person. So what they do? They set her up. They put a prescription pill under her front or under her back porch and arrested her. How many of you want to learn how to dig up bugs and worms and raise crickets for food? Do you prefer to eat them dried and crunchy or while still alive? Well, you won't have to if you can defend your food supply from predators. You may want to get an AR-15 kit from guns80.com and build your own AR-15 rifle from a kit. If you can legally own a rifle, you can purchase this AR-15 kit. If you're handy, you can complete the rifle in about an hour. The kit comes with all the parts you're going to need to build your rifle, but you'll need a drill press. And survivalists need one anyway. The Guns80.com team purchased the same used floor-standing drill press that I have for $100. You can too. And when you're finished, you'll have a paperwork-free AR-15 rifle, a drill press, drill bits, and the knowledge to maintain your AR-15 rifle, all for less than you expect. So if you want a paperwork-free AR-15 parts kit like mine, visit Guns80.com, Guns80.com, and let the unprepared have our share of the bugs.
Friends, this is Alex Jones for MidasResources.com. For more than 15 years, I have exclusively used Midas Resources for all my precious metal needs. Whether it's bullion or collectibles you're looking for, Midas Resources is simply the best. I own my gold as a hedge against inflation. This Federal Reserve currency could go the way of the Deutschmark and the Weimar Republic anytime. In these historically dangerous times, it makes sense to physically hold gold and silver. Midas already has some of the best deals in the industry. But if you give them a call and mention the radio special, they will give you a list of the day's super specials. Midas brokers are standing by to answer all your questions at 800-686-2237. They also have a lot of informative free literature explaining the opportunities and risk of holding precious metals. They are ready to answer your questions at 800-686-2237. Again, that's 800-686-2237.
I'm Vincent Finelli of USAPrepares.com. As most of you know, I broadcast weekday mornings on GCN from 9 to 11. And I'm also a full-time farmer. Add to that mix the weekly meetups and the Get Prepared Expo, and this combination makes for a demanding schedule. On the farm, we raise grass-fed Black Angus cattle and provide them with the best variety of summer and fall grasses available. Our cattle are exposed to the extremes of weather, the toxins in the air, and the electromagnetic radiation that's all around us. So even the best grasses and food that we provide are not enough. Our cattle require minerals and supplements for strong health and resistance to disease. And so do we. For these reasons, my mother, our children, Mrs. Finelli, and I all take Youngevity, Beyond Tangy Tangerine, De-Stress, Glucogel, and EFA+. USAPreparesTeam.com. And thank you for being in class today.
We live in a complicated society. Stressful issues are always popping up. Have you ever been treated unfairly by someone? Have you ever been overcharged for a repair? Have you ever signed a contract or a document? Worried about identity theft? How many times have you been in those unique situations where you just wanted to call an attorney to find out if you're right or wrong, or what your legal rights are? But every time you think about calling an attorney, what do you think about first? That's right. Who do you call, and how much will it cost? Our friends at Legal Shield have found a solution. With a nationwide network of 6,900 attorneys who average 19 years of experience, Legal Shield's law firms take over 40,000 calls per week helping their members. For less than $20 per month, you can have access to Legal Shield on everything from the trivial to the traumatic. Let Legal Shield stand up for your rights at lsprotection.com. That's lsprotection.com. Or call 855-340-SAVE, 855-340-7283.
Results will vary from case to case.
Class, Sharon Rondeau's with us, and she's editor, thepostemail.com, thepostemail.com. We're talking about state corruption. And I mentioned that my neighbor was arrested, single woman, and she was in her 40s. The sheriff's office found a prescription bottle under her rear deck. And so it was a prescription on the property that didn't belong to my neighbor. And who was the prescription written to? Well, that would be an employee of the sheriff's office. Yeah. So they arrested my neighbor, put her in jail, and they told her in no uncertain terms, look, you know what? You're going to keep coming back here again and again and again and again. You might actually live here in jail in the county unless you leave the state. They ran her right out of the state. Absolutely true. I'm not kidding. My neighbor.
Want her to leave? Was she someone for her constitutional rights in other areas?
Well, she decided that she was going to expose the corruption in the county, and she named the names, and she exposed the sheriff, and here we go. Off she went.
That's
to
exactly
jail.
What happened to Mike Parsons. As you know, I know he's one of your instructors. And Tipton County, Tennessee resident, upstanding citizen, entrepreneur, volunteer for the Civil Air Patrol, raising money for kids with cancer, the model of a good citizen. And he, in 2006, ran for county executive in Tipton County. And they didn't want anybody like him in office. You probably know this already. Some of the listeners may not. But early returns that evening showed Mike Parsons very, very easily defeating his opponent, Jeff Huffman. And by the next morning, the results that had been shown on the television, which we have screenshots of, were flipped on their head, and Mike Parsons was told he lost. He filed a lawsuit, he took other actions, and then the retribution really started. September 2007, a man who was kind of friendly with the sheriff's department shows up on his property, shoots 29 shots onto his property, unprovoked. Talk about provoking people, like with the woman where they planted the pill on her doorstep and then they arrested her. They provoked Mike Parsons. He tried to perform a legal citizen's arrest. It's in the Tennessee Constitution that any citizen may arrest another upon witnessing of a criminal activity. And instead, the whole thing got turned around. He was arrested, indicted with several felonies, convicted of 2 by a rigged, first the indictments for a rigged grand jury, then a rigged trial jury. And before he knows it, he's in prison. He's behind bars for 2.5 years for trying to get someone to stop shooting at his dog and his wife and himself and destroying his property and ruining his life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And they have gone after him again. He's just spent another 16 months in prison unjustifiably, and he is facing another trial on trumped up charges in August. This is what they do. Anyone who's bright, anyone who stands up for his rights, they will go after you. And the corruption is so deep. No official will talk about this. I've called the district attorney general there. His name is Michael Donovan. And online he is referred to as the Honorable Michael Donovan. I don't know how honorable this man is. He is now seeking enhanced punishment against a citizen of the county who's done nothing except try to protect his life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And this goes on and on and on. And we know in Tennessee, which is really a marvelous test case if we must have one with such awful proportions, we know this has been going on a very, very long time, and no one will do anything about it.
Well, what we're doing is we're going to expose it, and we have a network of broadcasters, and if anything happens to Mike Parsons, we will expose wide, far, and deep all those involved, where they live, their families, their phone numbers, their employers. Absolutely. So we don't want to see anything else happen to Mike Parsons. Dennis is on the line, and we're going to take your call, Dennis, as soon as we come back from this break. By the way, I had dinner with Mike Parsons on Saturday. It was great to be with him. We'll be right back. By now you know that USAPrepares.com is your source for water filtration systems. Here at the farm, we use our water filtration system for drinking, cooking, and for our cats and dogs. Which brand are we using? Well, that would be the ProPure system, because it filters out pathogens, microbes, chlorine, and fluoride. Multiple sources indicate that fluoride is responsible for lowering our IQs by 5%. Now, how many of you would like to sign up for a lower IQ? USAPrepares.com offers ProPure water filtration systems and accessories at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate. We buy them by the pallet loads and pass the savings on to you. And if you're outside of Missouri, there's no sales tax. And if this appeals to you, visit USAPrepares.com. That's USAPrepares.com. You can order online, and we have the ProPure water filtration systems in stock, ready to ship. USAPrepares.com. ProPure water filtration systems at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate.
We all know that Berkey water purification systems are the most trusted name in water filtration. As an authorized Berkey dealer for over 6 years and serving thousands of satisfied customers, the Berkey Guy offers amazing specials for Berkey water filtration systems. The Berkey Light systems include a set of self-sterilizing and recleanable black purification elements that purify water by removing chlorine, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, and parasites to non-detectable levels and remove harmful chemicals such as herbicides and pesticides. Order the Berkey Light system today, complete with 2 black Berkey elements for only $231, and the Berkey Guy will ship your order free of charge. With the purchase of a Berkey Light, the Berkey Guy is also offering a set of fluoride and arsenic filters for only $39.99. That's over 30% off the retail price. Call the Berkey Guy at 1-877-886-3653. That's 1-877-886-3653. Or order online at GoBerkey.com. That's GoBerkey.com today.
It's very easy to be a criminal. All you need to burglarize a home is one simple household tool, a pair of scissors. If your home security system can be compromised by a criminal using scissors, then you're making it easy for them. Almost every home security system, even those sold by big-name companies, has a weakness: the phone line. You shell out $1,500, get locked into a long-term contract, and think you're safe. But a burglar can destroy your alarm in seconds with one snip. And when a burglar cuts your phone line, you're defenseless. Simply Safe Home Security is the smarter choice. Built by Harvard engineers, Simply Safe uses a wireless connection to call the cops. Scissors can't cut it. And that means your home stays safe. 24/7 professional monitoring is under $15 a month with no contract. Simply Safe Home Security keeps you safer than the other guys for half the cost. Protect your home with the alarm you can trust. Simply Safe. Go to simplysafedefense.com now for an exclusive 10% offer. That's simplysafedefense.com.
Yuvia needed financing to grow her restaurant business, but her banks simply didn't understand.
I was frustrated.
Yuvia found On Deck Business Loans.
On Deck did it for me. I called on Saturday, and I had $50,000 in my account on Monday morning.
How about the terms?
Incredibly easy. It doesn't mess with your cash flow.
On Deck changed everything.
This company, On Deck, is going to be there for me.
Was it a good move?
I'm looking to increase sales probably 30%.
Been in business for at least a year with $100,000 plus in revenue? On Deck can get you $5,000 to $250,000 in as little as one business day. And they're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau.
On Deck has opened up so many doors for me now. Truly, the sky is the limit. I'm excited.
Apply now at OnDeckLending.com or call 800-326-5430. 800-326-5430. 800-326-5430.
Loan subject to lender approval.
Are you suffering from EP? The symptoms include fraudulent charges to your credit card. Your subway card says it's empty, but you bought it yesterday. Someone's been in your hotel room, but the desk clerk says they only show you entering the room. These are signs of EP. Electronic pickpocketing. Payment cards, transit cards, even hotel room keys use a radio chip, so you can just wave your card at the register, the turnstile, or your hotel room door. But what's convenient for you is also convenient for thieves, waving scanners to electronically pickpocket you without even touching you. The good news is there's a cure. ID Stronghold has created leather wallets and clutches that have built-in EP protection. Layers of shielding material cleverly concealed in a beautiful leather wallet that stops the symptoms of EP. Go to idstronghold.com now and get the cure. idstronghold.com. Warning, ID Stronghold wallets could lead to feelings of safety and security, comfort in crowds, and euphoria. If you experience these emotions, immediately inform your friends and family about idstronghold.com so they can feel better too.
Sharon Rondeau's with us, thepostemail.com, thepostemail.com. And Dennis is with us from Tennessee. Welcome, Dennis.
Yes, good morning. I'm glad to hear that you got Sharon Rondeau on this morning, and thank you guys for what you're doing, helping the exposure here, specifically in Tennessee. It's definitely out of control. I've learned recently from other people outside the state that have been studying the state of Tennessee and stating that it is one of the two leading states of corruption with the system. There's no common law court. The judges all rule with discretion. I have a 20-year-old son attending college in Rutherford County, Tennessee. It's a little ways from where Walter Fitzpatrick had gone down in the court system in Athens, Tennessee. However, a very similar situation, no justice in the courts. My son has been incarcerated not once but twice without due process of law, being found guilty of anything in front of a grand jury. We had the same situation as Sharon has described. You take a trooper by the name of John Welker that had pulled into my son's driveway onto his own property and trumped up charges and said that he was speeding out on a 4-lane highway, which there's absolutely no proof, no evidence from the audio dispatch from his video dash or his dash camera on his trooper vehicle. None of that showed any evidence whatsoever, but yet the man lied, and my son filled out an affidavit of truth and stating that he was not, and gave the trooper an opportunity to refute, deny, or rebuke that, and he did not. But yet they've already they already had a preliminary hearing and found my son guilty. Of course, the trooper was sworn in. Do you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? And he said, yes, I do, and said my son was speeding when he was not, and just exactly what you two have been talking about here this morning. They will conjure up, and I've learned a term called test-a-lying. Instead of testify, they will lie, and so they combine those words, test-a-lying, just to find someone guilty. And a lot of this came due in part recently. My son was incarcerated April 15th, and after April 11th, on a Saturday, I had been with other members of another organization at the 144th NRA annual meeting here in Nashville, Tennessee, at the Music City Center. We were handing out 12,500 one-page flyers, and that was on April 11th. What happens on the morning of the 15th, or my son was incarcerated on the 14th, a judge outside of Rutherford County, one county out, came in and wrote an order, 3 orders to incarcerate my son. Is that retaliation for what I do? I'm an author of a book titled Attorneys Above the Law. I'm not on here to talk about that. I'm here to back and support what Sharon Rondeau is talking about, what's going on in the state of Tennessee. It's retaliation and retribution for when you expose the system. This is what they're doing, obviously, to me and my family. And I thank you guys for coming on and exposing this. And this is what it's one thing they cannot stand is the exposure of how corrupt the system is to the public. They don't want the public to realize that we have rights when you have not convicted and been not found guilty of a crime, when you've not injured anyone. It does require your consent for their jurisdiction to prosecute you unless you have hurt someone or been involved in a vehicle homicide and so forth. But God love you guys. God bless you. Keep doing what you're doing. And I really do appreciate the opportunity to come on and have these couple of minutes with you this morning. Thank you.
Dennis, before you go, I've asked our engineer, Charles, to get your phone number, and I have it. During the break, I saw you on the call screen, and I asked him to get me your contact information, so I do have it. I'd like to call you after the broadcast, if that's okay with you, and talk
Absolutely.
to you about having you on the air with us as an instructor. And exactly what you said is what we are going to do. We are going to expose these criminals, and we are going to say who they are, what they're doing, why they're doing it. And if they just even begin to harm Mike Parsons anymore, we will bring the full force of the media down on any individual who does that. We will expose them on multiple networks, AM, FM, satellite, internet, YouTube, telephone listen lines, podcasts, downloads. Every one of the media outlets that we have available to us, their picture will be posted prominently. We will go after these guys and we will make them famous. So for any of you guys like Danny Johnson, who is Mike Parsons' parole officer, give him just the slightest hard time. And you will be able to type your name in. You'll be able to type in Danny Johnson, and you will find that within the top 3 search results on Google, you will find your name and the information about your criminal activity. There you go. So that's just Danny Johnson. That's just one of the guys that I've talked to on the phone. I've talked to Mike Parsons' parole officer. I know just a little bit about what they've done to Mike Parsons. And I'll tell you what, it's out of control. These guys are criminals. These guys are criminals for hire. What I want to know is, how do the wives of these hired thugs, these defective individuals, how do the wives sleep with these people? How do they do it? How do these individuals go to sleep at night? They are absolutely defective. I asked Dr. Norman Shealy about this. I asked him if people like this are actually physically and mentally defective from a medical standpoint, from a medical doctor's opinion. He said they are. They are defective. And that's what we're dealing with. People who have no conscience. People who enjoy harming other people. People who enjoy getting paid for harming other people. This is sick. This is like even worse than the sick spies who like listening to our cell phone calls and recording them. The sick people who turn on our cell phone cameras and like watching us in our own homes. This is about as sick as it gets. It's
true. And to Dennis, I'm so glad you called in. Dennis and I have been on some conference calls together, a group that started in Tennessee, and it's broadened out to other states, but the purpose is to expose corruption. I know he's written a book that's been very well received, The Attorneys Above the Law. I have not read it, full disclosure, but I do intend to. And he knows he's right there in, unfortunately, the belly of the beast. He knows what is going on in Tennessee. And one of the calls we were on, he described in his own words the same thing that Commander Fitzpatrick described, which is a prisoners for profit, human trafficking, slavery institution, which is going on in Tennessee and most likely other states. They are preying on members of their own community and saddling them with these false charges, railroading them through a corrupt system that's run by the good old boys where they slap each other on the back every time a conviction is obtained, and they send the person off to prison, sometimes for life. I covered one case where a man was sentenced to life in prison without even any forensics. No forensics were done. He was supposedly accused of shooting someone, a girlfriend or a former girlfriend. No forensics or ballistics done at all. They took a man who was defenseless, and when his parents went to go meet with the FBI in Washington, D.C., something that had been set up in advance, they got there and they were told the meeting was canceled. They drove all the way from their home in Tennessee to Washington, D.C., and then were turned away. So we want to know why nothing's being done. And if these so-called officials whose salaries we pay and who are supposed to be our servants won't do it, then we, the people, have to do it. And we will continue to expose this. They cannot deny this.
Let me mention a tactic that someone I know used. He was in the Vietnam conflict, and he was being pursued by the Viet Cong. He's a Marine. And he was outnumbered. And they were coming after him. So he grabbed one of them and cut his head off and put it on a stick and ran. And they still pursued him, but not as many. So he grabbed another one, cut his head off, and put it on a stick. And they stopped pursuing him. This guy's a friend of mine. And what I'm saying is, we're going to get to the point, and actually it's happened in Baltimore. And we said it would happen. We said, the redcoats, there might have been a few redcoats, that our founding fathers encountered that might have been nice guys. But, when they all got together and they started burning villages and they started slaughtering men, women, and children, our team started guerrilla warfare and started picking these guys off one at a time. And because the redcoats were burning down the villages, it was open season on the redcoats. You see one, you take them out. Well, we said that, and we did not advocate this, but we said this would happen. We said that pretty soon, people would look at the bluecoats as all the same. And I'm talking about the guys who wear the badges and carry the guns and the tasers and the multiple sets of handcuffs and the extra magazines and the body armor and the batons and the radios and the shotguns and the machine guns. Those guys. Well, pretty soon we're going to look at them all the same. And what's happening in Baltimore is when the bluecoats pick on somebody in the village, the villagers surround the bluecoats. Now the bluecoats are afraid to do what they used to do because now they're being outnumbered, which is the same tactic as the bluecoats use on us. You get pulled over by one of the bluecoats with a radar gun, and it's not just one bluecoat, it's 2 or 3 cars of bluecoats against one car of us. And they all have guns, and we're taught not to respond with violence. So we try to behave. The bluecoats beat us up. Well, now some of the bluecoats are being cut up and disemboweled. And they're saying, wow, this is really getting out of hand. People are really starting to pick on us. So that's the response of we the villagers. I'm not advocating it. I'm just saying this is what's happened. And we've predicted it. It's only natural. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to predict that this would happen. Dennis, if you'd like to hold through the break, we'd love to hear some more of your comments. Sharon Rondeau's with us, editor, thepostemail.com. I'm Vin Finelli. By now you know that USAPrepares.com is your source for water filtration systems. Here at the farm, we use our water filtration system for drinking, cooking, and for our cats and dogs. Which brand are we using? Well, that would be the ProPure system because it filters out pathogens, microbes, chlorine, and fluoride. Multiple sources indicate that fluoride is responsible for lowering our IQs by 5%. Now, how many of you would like to sign up for a lower IQ? USAPrepares.com offers ProPure water filtration systems and accessories at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate. We buy them by the pallet loads and pass the savings on to you. And if you're outside of Missouri, there's no sales tax. And if this appeals to you, visit USAPrepares.com. That's USAPrepares.com. You can order online, and we have the ProPure water filtration systems in stock, ready to ship. USAPrepares.com. ProPure water filtration systems at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate.
The human body is extraordinary, despite all the stress we inflict upon it. Thousands of people across the country use an extremely effective product to help their body stay balanced. It's Heart and Body Extract, an all-natural herbal formula designed to help maintain healthy blood pressure, clean arteries, promote good circulation, and balance cholesterol. Heart and Body Extract, along with good nutrition and exercise, can give you a life free from pain, sickness, and fear. Recapture your youthful vitality and experience your body healing itself with the aid of Heart and Body Extract. Learn more and read scores of testimonials from satisfied customers at heartandbody.com. Heart and Body Extracts offers a lifetime guarantee with no price increase in over 14 years. For free info, call 866-295-5305 now. That's 866-295-5305 or heartandbody.com. Distributor inquiries welcome. 866-295-5305.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Hey neighbor, what are you doing digging? You had a heart attack last year.
Oh, I know. I was told no more hard labor.
Then why are you digging?
Well, I've been taking Extendovite. It's been approved to help my heart.
Extendovite? Is that a new drug?
No, not a drug. It's more like an herbal combination made from garlic and cayenne.
Herbal? How can that help?
Well, actually, we've taken herbs for thousands of years. Extendovite is doing the job for me.
Does your doctor know about Extendovite?
Yeah, my doctor knows, and he said it seems to be working for you, so don't stop taking it. I feel great taking Extendovite. I don't want to stop.
To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Yuvia needed financing to grow her restaurant business, but her banks simply didn't understand.
I was frustrated.
Yuvia found On Deck Business Loans.
On Deck did it for me. I called on Saturday, and I had $50,000 in my account on Monday morning.
How about the terms?
Incredibly easy. It doesn't mess with your cash flow.
On Deck changed everything.
This company, On Deck, is going to be there for me.
Was it a good move?
I'm looking to increase sales probably 30%.
Been in business for at least a year with $100,000 plus in revenue? On Deck can get you $5,000 to $250,000 in as little as one business day. And they're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau.
On Deck has opened up so many doors for me now. Truly, the sky is the limit. I'm excited.
Apply now at OnDeckLending.com or call 800-326-5430. 800-326-5430. 800-326-5430.
Loan subject to lender approval.
For over 5 years, you've been hearing about the Berkey guy, so you may know a few things about him. For example, you are well aware of the superior quality and effectiveness of Berkey water filters and accessories. But did you know the Berkeys have had independent lab tests done to prove just how effective they are? It's true, and he can email you the test results. Just visit goberkey.com. You may also know that the Berkey guy has helped tens of thousands of people get better prepared. Now here's something you may not know. GoBerkey.com has amazing specials and deals all the time on a wide variety of survival and preparedness products, most ready to ship same day. Visit the Berkey Guy at goberkey.com and be sure to click the red Products on Sale Now button. You can always call toll-free 877-886-3653. Again, that's 877-886-3653. goberkey.com, home of the Berkey Guy.
Boy, what a mess we've allowed to happen. Sheriff Rondeau's Sharon Rondeau's with us, and her website, thepostemail.com. Thepostemail.com. Dennis is with us from Tennessee. Dennis, is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
I like that little Freudian slip there. I thought I heard you say Sheriff Rondeau. I kind of like the sound of that.
Well, you know, I've been thinking about this guy. Well, all right, I'll tell you. Friday at, not this Friday, or last Friday, but many Fridays ago, my son came running upstairs and he said, Dad, the cops are here. And I said, oh, man. You know, it's Friday night, 11:30. I thought there's going to be a shootout at the Finelli farm tonight, like right now. This is not good. So I was armed. My son was armed. And so we looked out the window from the second story, and this deputy's car's riding around our farm and then leaves. And that was a good thing. So I called the dispatcher and I said, hey, what's going on in our little hamlet here? She said, I don't know. I said, you know where your deputies are? She said, no, it's Big County. I don't know where they are. I said, you mean to tell me that you don't know where your deputies are, so your deputy doesn't call you and say, okay, I'm going to Finelli's farm now. In case, if something happens, you'll at least know where to, pick up the remains. So she said, no, I don't know where he is. And I said, okay. You think your deputy was here? I don't know. I said, okay, well, what's your last name? She wouldn't tell me. So I said, okay, I'm going to call around and I'm going to find out who was here. So I called the state police, the highway patrol. I called all surrounding county dispatch personnel. And I asked the highway patrol if they would mind calling. They said, no, we know where all our guys are. We have GPS. We can see them on the screen in front of us. We know where they all are. I said, would you call our little hamlet and find out if it's our county and call me back? And she called me back and said, yeah, it was your county. I talked to the dispatch. So I called our dispatcher. I said, Linda, you lied to me. And so I'm going to call the sheriff on Monday morning, and I'm going to do everything I can to get you fired for breaching the public trust. And they panicked, and the deputy called and said, yeah, it was us. And they tried to make light of it. They were looking for some guy. And I said, well, that guy's not here. And so I knew who the guy was that they were looking for because they described the car. So I called my neighbor. They were looking for him. Well, they pulled him over on the main highway. I live on a dirt road. So they were just poking around. And so I told the sheriff, I called the sheriff on Monday morning during the bottom of the hour break. And I told him what was going on. He said, Vincent, some people like it when we come on their property and, check them out. And I said, not me. Don't ever come on my property unless I call you. Do not trespass on my property. He was taken aback by that. So I hung up with him. I didn't slam down the phone. I just, I was polite. And I went on the air and I told the story and I said, now I've got to run for sheriff. And I meant it because, these people have got to be removed from office. They really do. And I was thinking I can run for sheriff and maybe I should run for county commissioner instead. And if I run for county commissioner, I can defund the sheriff's office. That might be, more fun to defund these thugs. How do you explain? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a great start when folks like Sharon and yourself are getting on board with this activity in Rutherford County, where all this I just described with my son, Rutherford County, the sheriff is being ousted by a group of citizens for all corruption. The media, and thank goodness you guys, like between Sharon and yourself, RBN, you will explain to the people what's really going on the local news radio stations and TV stations here in Nashville. They're talking about, the sheriff Robert Arnold of Rutherford County has got caught selling e-cigarettes to the jailbirds.
Yeah, I'm sure he's selling them at a loss, right? Yeah, that's the problem. And Mike Parsons told me that what they try to do is entice the prisoners to encourage contraband so that they can then get another felony conviction against the prisoners who are already in prison. Dennis, thanks so much for being with us. And Sharon and I will be right back after top of the hour news and...
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Good people need help. The Homeowners Association said we had weeds and fined us $25. We told them they had the wrong house. They said if we didn't pay it, they'd file a lien. Our attorney demanded photographs, witnesses, and told them if they couldn't provide this, they must cease and desist. Issue solved. Worry less and live more with lsprotection.com. That's lsprotection.com, or call 855-340-SAVE. That's 855-340-7283.
Results will vary from case to case.
It's very easy to be a criminal. All you need to burglarize a home is one simple household tool, a pair of scissors. If your home security system can be compromised by a criminal using scissors, then you're making it easy for them. Almost every home security system, even those sold by big-name companies, has a weakness: the phone line. You shell out $1,500, get locked into a long-term contract, and think you're safe. But a burglar can destroy your alarm in seconds with one snip. And when a burglar cuts your phone line, you're defenseless. Simply Safe Home Security is the smarter choice. Built by Harvard engineers, Simply Safe uses a wireless connection to call the cops. Scissors can't cut it, and that means your home stays safe. 24/7 professional monitoring is under $15 a month with no contract. Simply Safe Home Security keeps you safer than the other guys for half the cost. Protect your home with the alarm you can trust. Simply Safe. Go to simplysafedefense.com now for an exclusive 10% offer. That's simplysafedefense.com.
We all know that Berkey water purification systems are the most trusted name in water filtration. As an authorized Berkey dealer for over 6 years and serving thousands of satisfied customers, the Berkey Guy offers amazing specials for Berkey water filtration systems. The Berkey Light systems include a set of self-sterilizing and recleanable black purification elements that purify water by removing chlorine, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, and parasites to non-detectable levels and remove harmful chemicals such as herbicides and pesticides. Order the Berkey Light system today, complete with 2 black Berkey elements for only $231, and the Berkey Guy will ship your order free of charge. With the purchase of a Berkey Light, the Berkey Guy is also offering a set of fluoride and arsenic filters for only $39.99. That's over 30% off the retail price. Call the Berkey Guy at 1-877-886-3653. That's 1-877-886-3653. Or order online at goberkey.com. That's goberkey.com today.
Watch the greenbacks tumble.
Everyone all set, cocked, locked. Here we go. Hour number 2 of USAprepares.com. We're talking about state corruption. Sharon Rondeau's with us. ThePostEmail.com. ThePostEmail.com. Sharon, there are 4 USA Prepares instructors who have been harassed. That's to say the absolute least. Some have been beat up. Some have been imprisoned by the Blue Plague and the men in black dresses. And let me just tell you a quick story about one that I heard over the weekend. One of our instructors, Tim Starks, and I were chatting at the Preppers and Patriots Expo in Mountain Home, Arkansas over the weekend. He told me the story that he was in his truck and he was pulling 4 jet skis on his trailer. And it was dark. And the oncoming car had high beams on. So he flashed his high beams to say, hey, you got your high beams on. He was being polite. And the high beam stayed on, so he did it again. And the high beam stayed on, he did it a 3rd time. And then just as this oncoming car approached Tim Starks' truck, the oncoming car turned down the high beams. Tim saw it was a Missouri Highway Patrol. Highway Patrol turns around, pulls over Tim Starks. License and registration, there's no problem with that. Then the Highway Patrolman wants to know if these jet skis are stolen. He says these are stolen. And that's like prove that they're not stolen. So, innocent until proven guilty? No. It's you're guilty until you prove you're not guilty, right? So the highway patrol guy demands the titles to the jet skis. Now, let me ask you, how many of you carry the title around with property that you have? Do you carry the title for your vehicle, in your vehicle? Would you carry the title for your boat, in your boat? Would you carry the title for your jet ski or your trailer with you? Well, that's what this guy demanded. So Tim Starks says, you're kidding, right? I'm paraphrasing. And the Missouri Highway Patrol man doesn't give up. So Tim says, I'm going to record this. And the cop pulls a gun on Tim Starks and says, if you record this, I will shoot you. Now, Tim wants to know who this thug was. And he's been stonewalled by the Missouri Highway Patrol. That guy, that Missouri Highway Patrolman, whoever he is, needs to be fired. That's step number one. Step number two is his sergeant needs to be fired. All the way up to the head of the Missouri Highway Patrol. They all need to be fired. Now, why would I say that? Because this is a culture. This is a culture that is out of control. I've been stopped by the Missouri Highway Patrol. They were sniping with a radar gun, and they decided to pick me out. I was going uphill. 3 cars were going downhill at night in the rain, couldn't see a thing. And this guy's not out protecting and serving, he's out sniping. So I asked him why. What are you doing sniping? He said, it's policy. Really? It's policy. So this comes from above him. You will snipe. You will find a secret hiding place and you will snipe. Revenue needs to, be increased. We need newer cars, more tasers, more machine guns, more fuel for the MRAPs, more sound cannons, more jails, prisons, more stuff. It's a business. Now, Joey Kyle, former sheriff of Christian County, Missouri, I know this guy. I know people who think he was wonderful, a great sheriff, because he claimed to be a constitutional sheriff. Well, he's going to the federal pen for a year and a day, and that's not enough. The FBI is investigating this guy because they're concerned about at least $444,000 in county spending that is suspicious. Joey Kyle has spent county money with a company that Joey Kyle owns. Joey Kyle has admitted to buying stuff, paying for stuff that was never delivered for his own gain. Joey Kyle, constitutional sheriff, right? So one of our other instructors called me and he said, Vinny, how'd you know about Joey Kyle? How'd you know? And I told him, I had these feelings, these beliefs and so forth. And he said, Vinny, this guy has lived in Missouri all his life. One of our instructors. And he said, Vinny, when these guys get reelected, they become gun runners. And what he meant was they steal property from we the villagers. They steal our guns and they say this is evidence. And they put it in the evidence room and then that stuff disappears. A couple of years later, it surfaces. It gets sold privately at gun shows. Our property gets stolen and sold for profit by these corrupt politicians. Sharon, I submit to you that there is no one to call. You know, you get pulled over by one of these blue plague and you dial 911. Then they send a swarm of the blue plague. Now what are you going to do? How many people have been shot, murdered by the blue plague? Someone calls and says, my son has a problem. He's contemplating suicide. Would you come? I need your help. Please help me. The blue plague comes and kills their son just to keep everybody safe.
Yes, obviously, there is much, much more to this surveillance and militarized state than we the people have been aware of, as it's become a growing threat. And now I think a lot of us are aware of that threat. This didn't happen in a vacuum. I know a few months ago in Florida, the police went to the door and a boy had a Wii or something in his hand and he opened the door. They shot him dead. Now, apparently the deputy...
Sharon, when you talk about a Wii, you're talking about WII. You're talking about a game controller, right?
That's correct. Thank you. Yes, he had that in his hand. I don't know which hand, perhaps his left, because he opened the door. They were looking for his father, who was on parole or something, and instead they thought he had something in his hand, and they shot him dead. He may have been 16. He was not far from graduation, but not graduated yet, and shot him dead.
It doesn't matter if he was 99. They shot him. Okay. Here's another story. One of our instructors, his name is Steve Angle. He lives in Hays City, Kansas. Steve Angle has been to our weekly meetups at the restaurant. He's been to my home. We've gone to the Constitutional Sheriff and Peace Officers conventions together. I know this guy. So the doorbell rings at Steve Angle's home around after midnight on a weekend. Steve looks out the window, sees it's not a bunch of children, and it's the cops. So Steve has his 45. I've got my 45 right on my side right now. Okay. So Steve answers, and mine's cocked and locked. And I'm in the studio. Steve answers the door, looks out, or he goes to look out the window. He sees it's the cops. So he transfers his 45 from his right hand to his left hand. And he holds it by the muzzle. So it's pointing up. You can't shoot a 45 by holding it by the muzzle. Can't be done. He's holding it up. He opens the door with his right hand, and the cops put a gun in his face and tell him to drop the gun. Now, you've got to think about this. In this situation, if you had the cops pointing a gun at your face, inches away from your face, what are you going to do? I mean, if you think about it, if he makes the slightest move, he's going to get shot anyway, right? So he stands there, and the cops, to keep everybody safe, these two thugs beat Steve Angle. They beat him right inside his house at the threshold of his door. They beat him up right there. Ends up in the hospital. Spends the next 3 days in jail. Now, Steve Angle is facing charges, assault on 2 police officers with a deadly weapon. Really? I would think it's the other way around. 2 police officers assaulted him in his own home. He didn't call him. Nobody called him. That's Steve Angle. This nonsense has got to stop. So what do? They put Steve Angle after he gets out of jail, and he's facing charges. He's going to court. He may end up in prison. But we're going to expose these thugs. The bottom line is then they put him under surveillance and they watch him. And they watch him. Why? Because Steve Angle has the audacity to challenge an ordinance that says he can't have geese on his property. He's got a couple geese. They're not attack geese. They're just geese. They're pets. They live in his backyard. By now you know that USAPrepares.com is your source for water filtration systems. Here at the farm, we use our water filtration system for drinking, cooking, and for our cats and dogs. Which brand are we using? Well, that would be the ProPure system, because it filters out pathogens, microbes, chlorine, and fluoride. Multiple sources indicate that fluoride is responsible for lowering our IQs by 5%. Now, how many of you would like to sign up for a lower IQ? USAPrepares.com offers ProPure water filtration systems and accessories at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate. We buy them by the pallet loads and pass the savings on to you. And if you're outside of Missouri, there's no sales tax. And if this appeals to you, visit USAPrepares.com. That's USAPrepares.com. You can order online, and we have the ProPure water filtration systems in stock, ready to ship. USAPrepares.com. ProPure water filtration systems at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate.
Hi, John Hubner from Midas Resources. Are you tired of watching your hard-earned assets dwindle away? As government spending is out of hand and the Federal Reserve is creating in excess of $20 billion a week, are you tired of stockbrokers gambling away your hard-earned money? Is this market a setup for a crash greater than 1987? Too many of today's policies resemble those that led to the collapse of 1929. This is John Hubner, and that was me in 2007. And we all know what happened when the subprime credit bubble burst. By March 2009, the dollar lost 50% of its value. The entire U.S. banking system was on the verge of collapsing. Like all financial problems of the past, is history about to repeat itself? Call me, John Hubner, at 1-800-686-2237, extension 129, before it's too late to protect yourself. Will the oncoming catastrophe take all private IRAs, 401ks with it? There is a way to protect your hard-earned assets. Call me, John Hubner, at 1-800-686-2237, extension 129.
It's very easy to be a criminal. All you need to burglarize a home is one simple household tool, a pair of scissors. If your home security system can be compromised by a criminal using scissors, then you're making it easy for them. Almost every home security system, even those sold by big-name companies, has a weakness: the phone line. You shell out $1,500, get locked into a long-term contract, and think you're safe. But a burglar can destroy your alarm in seconds with one snip. And when a burglar cuts your phone line, you're defenseless. Simply Safe Home Security is the smarter choice. Built by Harvard engineers, Simply Safe uses a wireless connection to call the cops. Scissors can't cut it, and that means your home stays safe. 24/7 professional monitoring is under $15 a month with no contract. Simply Safe Home Security keeps you safer than the other guys for half the cost. Protect your home with the alarm you can trust. Simply Safe. Go to simplysafedefense.com now for an exclusive 10% offer. That's simplysafedefense.com.
Are you suffering from EP? The symptoms include fraudulent charges to your credit card. Your subway card says it's empty, but you bought it yesterday. Someone's been in your hotel room, but the desk clerk says they only show you entering the room. These are signs of EP. Electronic pickpocketing. Payment cards, transit cards, even hotel room keys use a radio chip, so you can just wave your card at the register, the turnstile, or your hotel room door. But what's convenient for you is also convenient for thieves, waving scanners to electronically pickpocket you without even touching you. The good news is there's a cure. ID Stronghold has created leather wallets and clutches that have built-in EP protection. Layers of shielding material cleverly concealed in a beautiful leather wallet that stops the symptoms of EP. Go to idstronghold.com now and get the cure. idstronghold.com. Warning, ID Stronghold wallets could lead to feelings of safety and security, comfort in crowds, and euphoria. If you experience these emotions, immediately inform your friends and family about idstronghold.com so they can feel better too.
We're talking about corruption. We're talking about state-sponsored corruption. Sharon Rondeau's with us. She's the editor of thepostemail.com. Sharon, I just posted on the website, usaprepares.com, a link. You know, the FBI is using airplanes to find out who we are, where we are by our cell phones. I mean, we know that they've been tracking. It's just one more piece of evidence. They fly these small airplanes. We have these small planes circling our farm. We have drones in the neighborhood circling our farms. These guys are out of control. This is just one more piece that we're exposing today in Tipton County, Tennessee. Tennessee's, our focus today. We're talking about Mike Parsons, and you want to talk about some of the I won't call it food, chemicals that they're serving the prisoners. Did we lose Sharon? Sharon, are you there? Well, let's see. Let's see if I'm even there. Yep, I'm there. And I don't have a return.
And that the cafeteria said, well, go ahead and serve it to them anyway. But they knew that the fish was already spoiled. I guess to save money, or for whatever reason, they just said, go ahead and serve it to the prisoners anyway. So I guess they don't care if they become ill. I also understand that Mike Parsons was out on a work detail, and somehow he was working with paint, and it irritated his skin terribly. And then they told him all in a hurry that he had to be shipped to a different prison because he had a hearing. He didn't know anything about what the hearing was going to entail. And they didn't even let him shower and change his clothes. He was in these clothes that had all this paint on them. He's also had a skin problem of late. I'm not quite sure how long this has gone on, but it's a skin irritation. And they tried to get him to take anti-cancer drugs when there's actually a natural remedy that would help this. And he said even the prison doctor had said, yes, I recommend that natural remedy to my patients on the outside, but I can't recommend it to you, and I can't get it to you. So those are at least three things that I've learned about just in relation to his case. But knowing that the paint caused an allergic reaction and then not allowing him to change clothes and get out of those clothes before he was shuffled over to a hearing back in Tipton County on these new trumped up charges of being in possession of firearms. They are just trying to destroy him. And during the break, I was thinking about the fact that I was told that the District Attorney General has some skeletons in his closet. I mentioned Michael Donovan. And there's more investigating that I can do on that. But I understand that there are some things there that apparently people surmise and have a very strong speculation about. This is very, very bad stuff. And instead, they go after innocent people and they try to ruin their lives and impoverish them. And, as you said, eventually seize their property. We've seen this happen all throughout Tennessee because this is a state that the Post and Email has studied for so long. And I wanted to mention, too, that our reporting, yours and mine and Dennis's and anyone else who's calling in or listening and knows what we're talking about in regard to Tennessee, has been recently backed up by two different investigative reporters in Tennessee. It seems as though they're starting now to peel back the layers of the onion. Channel 4 did an investigative report. It was called The I-Team, and it was by a Jeremy Finley, Finley. This was a report from April of last year, 2014, in which he found that reports of prisoners being assaulted or perhaps prisoners assaulting wardens or deputy wardens or any other kind of corrections officers were being expunged, deleted, changed, disappeared. So any combination of those things. And through that, I did a little investigation of my own on another prisoner whose case I'm covering out of Madison County, Tennessee. He also has been railroaded. He's a young man, and he's been very badly injured in prison. There's no record of the assault that was done to him by two corrections officers who were brothers. The state is covering it up, and Derek Schofield, the commissioner of the Tennessee Department of Corrections, refuses to get back to me on this. I've written him a formal letter and said, why is there no record of this assault?
Sharon, hold that thought. Hold that thought. We're going into a break. By now, you know that USAPrepares.com is your source for water filtration systems. Here at the farm, we use our water filtration system for drinking, cooking, and for our cats and dogs. Which brand are we using? Well, that would be the ProPure system, because it filters out pathogens, microbes, chlorine, and fluoride. Multiple sources indicate that fluoride is responsible for lowering our IQs by 5%. Now, how many of you would like to sign up for a lower IQ? USAPrepares.com offers ProPure water filtration systems and accessories at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate. We buy them by the pallet loads and pass the savings on to you. And if you're outside of Missouri, there's no sales tax. And if this appeals to you, visit usaprepares.com. That's usaprepares.com. You can order online, and we have the ProPure water filtration systems in stock, ready to ship. usaprepares.com. ProPure water filtration systems at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate.
Are you suffering from EP? The symptoms include fraudulent charges to your credit card. Your subway card says it's empty, but you bought it yesterday. Someone's been in your hotel room, but the desk clerk says they only show you entering the room. These are signs of EP. Electronic pickpocketing. Payment cards, transit cards, even hotel room keys use a radio chip, so you can just wave your card at the register, the turnstile, or your hotel room door. But what's convenient for you is also convenient for thieves, waving scanners to electronically pickpocket you without even touching you. The good news is there's a cure. ID Stronghold has created leather wallets and clutches that have built-in EP protection. Layers of shielding material cleverly concealed in a beautiful leather wallet that stops the symptoms of EP. Go to idstronghold.com now and get the cure. idstronghold.com. Warning, ID Stronghold wallets could lead to feelings of safety and security, comfort in crowds, and euphoria. If you experience these emotions, immediately inform your friends and family about idstronghold.com so they can feel better too.
For over 5 years, you've been hearing about the Berkey guy, so you may know a few things about him. For example, you are well aware of the superior quality and effectiveness of Berkey water filters and accessories. But did you know the Berkeys have had independent lab tests done to prove just how effective they are? It's true, and he can email you the test results. Just visit goberkey.com. You may also know that the Berkey guy has helped tens of thousands of people get better prepared. Now here's something you may not know. GoBerkey.com has amazing specials and deals all the time on a wide variety of survival and preparedness products, most ready to ship same day. Visit the Berkey Guy at goberkey.com and be sure to click the red Products on Sale Now button. You can always call toll-free 877-886-3653. Again, that's 877-886-3653. goberkey.com, home of the Berkey Guy.
Have you ever felt like the United States government knows way too much about your financial affairs? I continue to hear stories about property seizures, frozen bank accounts, confiscation of stocks and bonds. It makes me wonder if the U.S. citizen will ever again have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Unfortunately, with the Drug and Money Laundering Act, the IRS Revenue Ruling 6045 of 1984, and the Trading with the Enemy Act and Franklin D. Roosevelt's Executive Order of 1933, some precious metal holdings are subject to government intervention. For this reason, Midas Resources has prepared a report explaining the boundaries of trading precious metals privately. Whether if you have any intention of trading with Midas Resources or not, I have instructed my representatives to give this report out free. Call for your free copy at 1-800-686-2237. When investing, always proceed with caution. Again, call 1-800-686-2237. Exercise your legal right to trade metals privately. 1-800-686-2237.
Yuvia needed financing to grow her restaurant business, but her banks simply didn't understand.
I was frustrated.
Yuvia found On Deck Business Loans.
On Deck did it for me. I called on Saturday, and I had $50,000 in my account on Monday morning.
How about the terms?
Incredibly easy. It doesn't mess with your cash flow.
On Deck changed everything.
This company, On Deck, is going to be there for me.
Was it a good move?
I'm looking to increase sales probably 30%.
Been in business for at least a year with $100,000 plus in revenue? On Deck can get you $5,000 to $250,000 in as little as one business day. And they're A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau.
On Deck has opened up so many doors for me now. Truly, the sky is the limit. I'm excited.
Apply now at OnDeckLending.com or call 800-326-5430. 800-326-5430. 800-326-5430.
Loan subject to lender approval.
You know, we're talking about corruption, and Sharon Rondeau's with us. Sharon, there's a little city in Christian County. That's where that corrupt former sheriff Joey Kyle was sheriff. And this little city is about 1.25 square miles. 1.25 square miles. It's like 4 times the size of my farm. It's a tiny place. 1,756 people live there. as of the 2010 census. I was at an alderman's meeting with several of our, about 25 of us from USA Prepares, because we were outraged at one of our instructors and students was tased. His name is Bob Eastep. He was tased. He's 68 years old. He's a farmer. So this cop pulls him over at night, around a little after 9 o'clock at night. So Bob Eastep is pulled over, and the bright lights are on Bob Eastep from behind this patrol car. Bob Eastep's waiting. And he's waiting. He's wondering, what in the heck's going on? Now, Bob Eastep is from Sparta, Missouri. Everybody knows him. He owns a lot of farmland there. Everybody knows who Bob Eastep is in this town of 1,756 people. Well, by the way, Sparta's a toll booth. They write about 170 traffic citations per month. How do you write 170 traffic citations per month in a little city of 1.25 square miles? Well, that's what they do. That's their revenue stream for Sparta. Well, so this cop, Andrew Spencer, this young thug cop, pulls over Bob Eastep. Bob Eastep is waiting in his car. Bright lights on him. Nothing's happening. So he calls 911 to find out what's going on. Calls 911 from his cell phone. Next thing he knows, this cop opens Bob Eastep's door and tases him right in his car. So I called for the arrest of this young thug cop, Andrew Spencer, a cop in Sparta City, Missouri. I called for the sheriff, Joey Kyle, to arrest him for violating his civil rights. Nothing happens. I get a little bit of heat from my friends who say, let the system work. And I got so many phone calls saying, the system, let the system work. And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? This guy almost dies. He's paralyzed in his vehicle from being tased. This thug cop threatens to tase him again if he doesn't get out of his car. Bob Eastep can't move. He's almost 70 years old, beaten up with this taser, lightning on a stick. And the thug cop isn't arrested. Joey Kyle, the sheriff of the county, has his deputies go investigate. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. And I had to ask many times on the air, why? Well, Joey Kyle is going to prison for 1 year and a day for corruption, stealing from his friends and family and neighbors. He's the guy that has an MRAP, machine guns. This is Joey Kyle. The whole point, class, is there's nobody to call. Who are you going to call? You going to call 911? Come on. That's why we need to be armed. Every one of us. Every one of us needs to be armed to protect ourselves, our friends, our family. This is out of control. As a matter of fact, I am for gun confiscation. The Blue Plague needs to have all their guns confiscated. All of them. Because I don't trust a single one of them. Sharon?
Yes, it goes to explain why this thuggery has not stopped. And why, actually, there is so much distrust in Tennessee between the people and the police. I have a police officer who's in my list of Tennessee court victims, if you will. He's a former Tennessee police officer. He left the state a couple of years ago. I interviewed him. It's a very interesting interview that he gave me. And he had some very, I think, astounding revelations that he made. I just published it on Saturday, I believe. And he said the relationship between the people of Tennessee and the cops who are supposed to be serving them, helping them, is very bad. He said these people just would rather handle it themselves. And you can understand that, given what's going on. And this also brings to mind that in the case against Commander Fitzpatrick, who is sitting in a state of Tennessee prison right now as an innocent man, convicted of aggravated perjury and extortion for bringing written evidence of government corruption to the McMinn County jury. He has been tasered. His left ear was almost ripped off. This was some years ago in Monroe County. But after he moved to McMinn County and this happened, we found that, well, isn't it interesting that McMinn County was given, I believe it was 127 used assault weapons from the Department of Homeland Security. And they accepted them. They said, oh, yes, we'll keep them. We'll have a use for them, maybe not right away. Little McMinn County in southeastern Tennessee, what do they need 127 assault rifles for? But this is what they do. They intimidate, and if you don't do what they say right then they start tasering you. I could tell some other horror stories. But there are many, many, many of them, but this is consistent with what we've seen in Tennessee.
We had our expo, two of our expos at the Ozark Empire Fairgrounds just outside of Springfield, Missouri. And it's a city-county owned property. And there was another event there, one of their fairs. And there was this woman, kind of a tall woman, behind the booth. And she was in a green uniform. And she was representing the court system in the county. And there was no one there. I walked up to her and I said, wow, what's that? And she said, those are my handcuffs. And I'm paraphrasing. And what's that? That's my taser. So what do you use that for? And she said, well, if I shoot somebody, it'll paralyze them. And I said, does it make them wet their pants? And she said, sometimes. I said, well, that sounds kind of messy. And I said, what's that? That's my baton. And what's that? That's my microphone. And what's that? That's my two-way radio. What are those? Those are my magazines. How many cartridges are in there? Oh, 18. Wow. And what's that? Oh, that's my handgun. That's my gun. Is that loaded? Yeah. So I went through this whole list of, are you wearing body armor? Yeah. So I went through this whole list about all these weapons that she had. She was ready for, a small war all by herself. And after I got done asking her all these questions about all the stuff that we bought for her, and she works for the court. Okay. She's not in combat, in a war, but she is ready for war with us, we the villagers. So I asked her, my last question was, I said, have you ever helped anyone change their flat tire? She looked at me like she was furious with me by that point. Because I was pointing out all the stuff that she had to kill us, wound us, apprehend us, torture us, bring us to a near-death experience. Lightning on a stick. And when I asked her if she ever helped anybody change their tire, the answer was no. Neil in California, you're on the air with Sharon, Rondeau, and me, Vin Finelli. Welcome. Oh, I'm sorry. He was just listening. We've been having some problems with our listen line. I think there are so many people listening on the listen line that we have overloaded it. So let me give you both of those numbers. 605-562-4080. 605-562-4080. And then 605-562-7727. 605-562-7727. You can go to YouTube and you can listen to the broadcast on YouTube as well. You can go to GCN, listen to it as well. We're on 11 p.m. to 1 at night on Republic Broadcasting. We're on Liberty News Radio as well. And we're available on satellite, Galaxy 19 and Hotbird 13B over Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East, as well as AM and FM radio stations. Sharon, what's next?
Well, I think we the people have to decide that enough is enough. And speaking specifically of Tennessee, it's not going to be enough for them to say this didn't happen to me. If I keep my nose clean and stay out of the courtroom and stay away from the police and don't call attention to myself or my family, I'll be okay. It's okay that they did it to Mike Parsons or Commander Fitzpatrick or Timothy Aaron Baxter or George Raudenbush. It's okay they did it to them because we know what Pastor Martin Niemöller said, who was thrown in prison by the Nazis. We know about his poem, or we all should. He said, well, I wasn't a socialist. They weren't coming for the socialists, so I didn't worry about it. I wasn't a trade unionist. I wasn't this. I wasn't a Catholic. But you know what? Eventually, they came for all of them, and they sent them away to concentration camps, and they killed millions. And people are dying, as you said, people are dying in jails. There have been unexplained jails in Tennessee, or unexplained circumstances where people have died in jails in Tennessee, and many other strange occurrences. And these things are just being swept under the rug. As I mentioned in the last segment, the TDOC commissioner, Derek Schofield is his name, supposedly with wonderful experience out of the state of Georgia, will not even answer my letter as to why someone who was attacked by two corrections officers, badly hurt, his elbow was broken, his shoulder was badly injured, he was banged on the back of the head with a radio and has hearing problems now, as does, by the way, Mike Parsons. He lost half of his hearing while he was incarcerated. I want to know why nothing's being done. And I want to know why the people of Tennessee cannot stand up and say, we've had enough.
Hold that thought. We're in a commercial break. Which brand are we using? Well, that would be the ProPure system because it filters out pathogens, microbes, chlorine, and fluoride. Multiple sources indicate that fluoride is responsible for lowering our IQs by 5%. Now, how many of you would like to sign up for a lower IQ? USAPrepares.com offers ProPure water filtration systems and accessories at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate. We buy them by the pallet loads and pass the savings on to you. And if you're outside of Missouri, there's no sales tax. And if this appeals to you, visit USAPrepares.com. That's USAPrepares.com. You can order online, and we have the ProPure water filtration systems in stock, ready to ship. USAPrepares.com. ProPure water filtration systems at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate.
It's very easy to be a criminal. All you need to burglarize a home is one simple household tool, a pair of scissors. If your home security system can be compromised by a criminal using scissors, then you're making it easy for them. Almost every home security system, even those sold by big name companies, has a weakness: the phone line. You shell out $1,500, get locked into a long-term contract, and think you're safe. But a burglar can destroy your alarm in seconds with one snip. And when a burglar cuts your phone line, you're defenseless. Simply Safe Home Security is the smarter choice. Built by Harvard engineers, Simply Safe uses a wireless connection to call the cops. Scissors can't cut it. And that means your home stays safe. 24/7 professional monitoring is under $15 a month with no contract. Simply Safe Home Security keeps you safer than the other guys for half the cost. Protect your home with the alarm you can trust. Simply Safe. Go to simplysafedefense.com now for an exclusive 10% offer. That's simplysafedefense.com.
I'm Vincent Finelli of USAPrepares.com. As most of you know, I broadcast weekday mornings on GCN from 9 to 11. And I'm also a full-time farmer. Add to that mix the weekly meetups and the Get Prepared Expo, and this combination makes for a demanding schedule. On the farm, we raise grass-fed Black Angus cattle and provide them with the best variety of summer and fall grasses available. Our cattle are exposed to the extremes of weather, the toxins in the air, and the electromagnetic radiation that's all around us. So even the best grasses and food that we provide are not enough. Our cattle require minerals and supplements for strong health and resistance to disease. And so do we. For these reasons, my mother, our children, Mrs. Finelli, and I all take Youngevity, Beyond Tangy Tangerine, De-Stress, Glucogel, and EFA+. USAPreparesTeam.com. And thank you for being in class today.
On the average, Americans work between 45 to 50 years, hoping to build up enough wealth to retire and live out their golden years. Unfortunately, with taxation, the rising cost of food, energy, housing, and medical, many retirees are forced to live below the poverty line. Is this a flaw free enterprise, or is our monetary unit we call the Federal Reserve Note forcing us into perpetual debt, ensuring inflation and higher taxes? These questions and more can be answered by reading G. Edward Griffin's book, The Creature from Jekyll Island. Congressman Ron Paul states it's what every American needs to know about central bank power. A gripping adventure into the secret world of international banking cartel. Hi, this is Ted Anderson. I will give a silver dollar from the early 1900s to anyone who purchases this book. Call 1-800-686-2237 and order a copy today. It's critical that the public be made aware of the system. Call and order your copy today at 1-800-686-2237. That's 1-800-686-2237.
Are you suffering from EP? The symptoms include fraudulent charges to your credit card. Your subway card says it's empty, but you bought it yesterday. Someone's been in your hotel room, but the desk clerk says they only show you entering the room. These are signs of EP, electronic pickpocketing. Payment cards, transit cards, even hotel room keys use a radio chip, so you can just wave your card at the register, the turnstile, or your hotel room door. But what's convenient for you is also convenient for thieves, waving scanners to electronically pickpocket you without even touching you. The good news is there's a cure. ID Stronghold has created leather wallets and clutches that have built-in EP protection. Layers of shielding material cleverly concealed in a beautiful leather wallet that stops the symptoms of EP. Go to idstronghold.com now and get the cure. idstronghold.com. Warning, ID Stronghold wallets could lead to feelings of safety and security, comfort in crowds, and euphoria. If you experience these emotions, immediately inform your friends and family about idstronghold.com so they can feel better too.
We've been talking about state-sponsored corruption with Sharon Rondeau. In class, I believe this is the first time that I've had a new instructor on for 2 hours, right out of the gate. And that's because this topic is so important. And Sharon's going to be back again and again. Her website is thepostemail.com, thepostemail.com. Steve, you're on with Sharon and me. Welcome.
Thanks, Vincent. I'll be quick. I know you're getting short of time as I listen, and I just found out through you about this incident with Tim Starks, which brings to mind, like I said, no one's talked about it. What was the probable cause in him being stopped? And the reason I bring this up, yeah, if you're driving 20 miles over the speed limit or recklessly, yeah, they're going to have you. But there's so many times to where they just stop people, and you say, well, I used my turn signal or whatever. No, you didn't. And you wonder, well, why did he stop me? What they're looking for is something to steal and something to charge you with. I've talked to attorneys about this, and they said, well, did you get a ticket? And I said, no. He said, well, then nothing happened. I said, no, it's not that nothing happened. This was an attempted shakedown, and people are not looking at it this way, that these are attempted highway robberies. And the towns and the cities are involved in this. They're there for revenue raising and to harass people, and the people are not going up the chain of the food chain here high enough to understand that these towns and cities, they're hiring these people to do this. So I just wanted to make that point, and I'll get off, and because the lady's very interesting, and everyone needs to be aware of this and to stand up. Thank you.
Steve, hold on just 1 second, please. Don't go away. I don't know if you heard, but I was talking about you. I recognize your voice, of course. This is the voice of Steve Engel. He's the man that I said was beat up in the threshold of his own home, gun pointed at his face from a couple of cops from Hayes, Kansas. Steve, is that accurate?
Yes, and the other thing is, as with Tim Starks, and I'll just let everybody know. I know Tim Starks, and you know that. And when someone puts a gun in your face, they are threatening to kill you. Now, this is unacceptable. Everybody needed to go watch Schindler's List. This is 1930s Nazi Germany, and even after the war, you got 70 million Germans saying, well, we didn't know what was going on. Baloney. Here we are. I hope we're better people from the history and the experience that we're going to do something about this and stop this.
Steve, you said something like this is a shakedown by these cops. And, for anyone new listening, for someone new to alternative media, it might sound like Steve has lost his mind. No, these are good people. No, this is a shakedown. This is like this little toll booth called Sparta, Missouri. Don't go to Sparta. Let me say it a different way. Don't go to Sparta. Starve the beast. If you starve Sparta, if you don't go to Sparta, you can't get a ticket. And until the villagers have had enough with us not buying their goods and services by not going to Sparta, they will have had enough, and they will shut down the toll booth. And then Sparta can flourish again. But until that point, I'm not going to Sparta. Now, this is the first time I've said, don't go to Sparta. I said before, I'm not going to Sparta. I'm now saying, don't anyone else go to Sparta. And I'm serious. And that's the problem, because we have allowed these thugs to shake us down. Steve Engel, you are absolutely right.
Well, and Vincent, I've supported police for more than half my life, supported government. I'm in weekly conversations with my own state representative. People want to say, well, you're anti-police, anti-government. Baloney. I'm anti-corrupt government. I'm anti-corrupt criminal police. These are not the men that we had as policemen 40 years ago. They're not men. They're scared little boys with guns.
There you go. Steve Engel, thanks so much for being with us. Sharon, we got to do this again and again and again. So I would consider this 101. We're going to do 102, 103, 104. Sharon, thanks so much for being with us. Thepostemail.com. Thepostemail.com. And if you wonder where Mike Parsons is, well, he's regaining his strength after 15, 16 months being starved, denied nutrition, and mental and physical abuse. Class, above all, honesty and integrity. What happens next is up to you.
Hey, Berkey Guy here. Are you still drinking unfiltered tap water? Does your water contain chlorine or fluoride? Will you have drinkable water in an emergency? The Berkey Guy is here to help you remove these and other potential contaminants from your water, thus helping you drink clean, purified water. We offer Berkey water purification systems at the lowest available prices online. Don't go another moment without Berkey system. Over the last 10 years, we've helped thousands drink clean, purified water. Join them by visiting goberkey.com or call me, the Berkey Guy, at 877-886-3653. That's 877-886-3653.
Hi, this is Larry Smith. Sometimes bad things happen to good people. Like when the jeweler ruined my ring and wouldn't do anything about it. But when my Legal Shield attorney called him and told him what my rights were, I received a check for over $2,100. Worry less and live more with lsprotection.com. That's lsprotection.com, or call 855-340-SAVE. Again, 855-340-7283.
Results will vary from case to case.
Did you know that drinking pure, high alkaline water is one of the most important factors in maintaining high energy and vibrant health? Most experts agree that the water you drink should be at a pH level of 8 or higher. AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops, available only at alkavision.com, combine a unique formula of only the most alkaline minerals. AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops alkalize your water, ridding the body of harmful toxins, and helps you regain health and energy. Alkalizing your water by simply adding 10 drops of AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops helps the body rid itself of acidic waste, increases oxygen content, and raises the pH of your body to healthy levels. And bacteria and viruses cannot survive in an alkaline high pH environment. Order your bottle of AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops for only $29.95 at alkavision.com. That's ALKAvision.com. Or call 269-409-1776. 269-409-1776. Alkalize your body. Supercharge your health at alkavision.com.